Hey there, how's it going everybody? Welcome back, Plant Abundance here. So we went from overnight freezing temperatures to in the upper 40s. We had some rain last night, got an overcast day. So I went plant shopping and maybe I'll share with you some of the things I got later. Today I wanted to discuss your different options as far as pruning your newly purchased fruit trees, the young dormant trees that you bought either bare root or potted, you got them in the ground. What can you do right off the bat to ensure you'll be developing a structure that's going to handle the future fruit sets that the tree provides, as well as a healthy tree that's going to get full photosynthesis, have nice airflow throughout the scaffolding. So this tree right here is a pineapple quince, and when I first brought this home, I put it in the ground and literally lopped it off, just cut the top off right at about knee height. Now this particular tree is very well suited for this style of pruning, and depending on what type of variety of fruit tree you have is going to dictate what's the best or the recommended pruning structure that you're going to be going for. And the majority of stone fruit trees can benefit from the same style of pruning. That's where you just lop it off as soon as you get it home while it's still dormant. You never want to do this once the tree has started to blossom or it has fruit on it. It's best to do it when the tree is still completely dormant. If there's a little bit of growth just starting to occur, it should still be okay. But again, just lopping it off at the knee, and as you can see, all these main branches are the scaffolding of the tree. The main structure of this tree is so robust and strong, it's going to have no problem holding on to all these future fruits that the tree is going to produce. And it's at a very manageable height right now. The canopy is nice and low, so the fruiting starts really low on the tree. Just a lot of benefits to this style of pruning. And here we've got another fine example of this style of pruning. Right next door, we've got this white nectarine. Very healthful tree, producing lots of buds. Nice popcorn buds just beginning to open up. Low canopy, lots of fruit going to be set on this tree. And the same exact style of pruning was done on all of these dwarf and semi-dwarf trees that were planted in this hedgerow style planting. They're all doing very well. So once again, this style of pruning is defined as being an open canopy or a vase-like pruning, and it does very well for many different types of fruit trees. So now let's discuss some other pruning options and how they're more suitable to other types of fruit trees. Now behind me here, I've got a Fuji apple, and apples and pears are two of the most common varieties that will be pruned in a central leader type structure. That means that the main trunk of the plant is left to shoot up, and basically you're trying to emphasize the lateral growth that comes off of the sides. And that can be beneficial for these style of trees because if you want proper airflow, you want proper photosynthesis. But look at my apple tree. I didn't follow that standard. As you can see, I lopped this tree off at knee height just as I did with my other trees. And to be totally honest with you, at the time that I was planting a lot of these fruit trees, I was very eager to get this project underway and not fully versed on the different pruning techniques and how they apply to each and every different tree. With that being said, there's ice falling on my head, but I'm still going to try to get this video done for you right now. This apple tree still produced nice fruits for me last year. I thinned the majority of them out, and yeah, it's hailing right now. Hopefully the wind's not ruining this video too much. Over here I've got a couple pear trees planted 2 in 1 hole, and same thing. Instead of doing a central leader pruning style, I cut the tree off right there at knee level, and as you can see, we've got a really nice structure developing on these trees. So I guess the question is, if I would have known then what I know now, would I have pruned these trees any differently? Not necessarily. I'm very happy with the look of these trees. So if I were to prune these in the style of having a central leader, it would have just been one of these main trunks pointing up like this, and all of this side branching, lateral growth would be what would be emphasized. But instead, we've got a scaffolding that creates the canopy of this tree and requires a certain amount of pruning in order to keep the tree nice and shapely without the branches running into each other. But really, there's nothing wrong with this style. With that being said, I'd encourage you guys to think out the box and don't do everything by the book when it comes to gardening. The garden was meant for some experimentation. A prime example would be this 2-in-1 planting I have here of the plum and the plum cot. If you look at these trees, at this point where the trunks have grown, they're only about 1 foot apart. And I can just imagine how many people, when they first saw me do this, were wondering, what the heck is this guy doing? Well, I actually learned this strategy from Tom Spellman over at Dave Wilson Nursery. I've been extremely happy with the outcome. It's not that I was so limited on space that I had to grow my trees this way, but rather I wanted to show you folks what's possible. So if you're gardening on a small piece of land, what you can actually do. 2 trees in one plot. And actually, these 2 trees produced the most abundant crop out of all the different fruit trees in the garden last year. So that's 2 different styles of pruning that we've talked about now. So there's the open canopy, the vase shape, and there's also the central leader. So the 3rd style of pruning that you can opt to go with is known as a modified central leader. And this is appropriate for just about every fruit and nut tree there is. And basically what you do is you let the tree continually grow up the center, just as you do with a standard central leader pruning. But instead of letting the tree grow up and up and up with that central leader, at some point at your desired height, go ahead and top it. You usually want to have 4 or 5 different scaffolding branches there when you do that. And you're kind of getting the best of both worlds when you do this. It's going to be a larger tree than when you do the open canopy pruning, but the base of the tree is going to be shaped in a central leader form. And I've opted to go with this style with my persimmons. Some trees that you would never want to top when you first get them home would be trees like citrus. The citrus needs a nice canopy to help protect the trunk and the branches from sunburn, and by topping the tree, you'd really be hindering its ability to protect itself and stunting its growth as well. At some point down the line, if the tree does get larger than you want, you can go ahead and do some top pruning at that point, but you really don't want to do any thinning on the citrus other than removing dead branches or diseased branches. You want a nice, thick, dense canopy, one that's going to protect the trunk and the branches of the tree. Another tree I would never consider topping would be this pineapple guava. Nice evergreen compact tree. If I was to do that, I'd definitely stunt the tree's growth and just have a little bush here rather than a nice forming tree. And what about pomegranate trees? Should you take the tops off of those when you first get them into the ground? Well, the pomegranates have a natural bushy growth habit, and because of that, you can either grow them out to look more like a shrub or like a tree, or even something in between. I've actually opted to go with something in between, so I didn't take it down all that far, and instead I let the tree grow up a bit. But if you wanted to, you could definitely take this tree down at a lower level. I've seen it being taken down at 2 feet, 3 feet, and you'll have a nice low canopy on the tree, nice bushy structure, so it's really up to you and your preference. Avocados are another tree that you can take the tops off of, whether the tree is very young or once the tree is fully mature. Again, it's up to you, but you want to encourage that lateral growth to keep the tree smaller. Standard varieties of avocados can grow huge, like 20+ feet, and most folks don't want a tree that large in their backyard. They want to be able to easily access the fruit. So in many cases, people will pinch the tops or cut the tops off the tree at anywhere between 1 foot to 4 feet, and then they'll focus the energy of the tree into the lateral growth. I've also seen where folks have grown a tree 15 feet tall, and at that point cut the tops and brought the tree back down to about 7 to 10 feet. So a lot of options with the avocado. You can either do it right off the bat or you can wait till a later time. Almond trees are often one of the nut trees that are pruned to have an open canopy or a vase-like shape. They're also commonly pruned with the modified central leader structure. Hey guys, how about a thumbs up for me braving this weather, this hailstorm mixed with rain, to bring you guys this material. I really do appreciate it. You're growing something that I didn't share with you today and you're still not sure how to go about pruning it. For that, I'd recommend you do a simple Google search and just search the variety of tree that you're trying to prune and structure, and you'll come up with the information you need. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. I'm going to get inside, get warmed up. So until next time, this is Dan from PlantAbundance.com. Wishing you all a great rest of your day. I'll be talking to you again soon. Take care.